Frank Skinner.
Radio.
That's Money by The Drums. I love it. This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. I'm with Emily Dean, but I'm also, get this, with Steve Williams.
Good morning.
Hi, Steve.
I don't know if you remember Steve. Steve's very much friend of the show. A former host of the show, I believe.
One-time form. In fact, I hosted the show the same week you went on to win your Sony Awards.
Is that right?
That is true. That is true. I was here. I was in that seat, Frank.
The seat which currently has no armrest on it.
Yeah, did you feel that you were a little part of it? When we got the Sony Award, did you feel you'd taken some responsibility for that?
There was a little bit of me felt,
Was it like when Graham Norton sat in for Jack Doherty 2 weeks on on Channel 5, and then he got the Best Chat Show Award? Was that fair?
That's a very fair statement to make.
Yeah.
That's exactly how it felt.
Yeah, thank God there's some justice in the world, and that Jack Doherty went on to... Sorry, I had 2 pages stuck together. In fact, there's no justice in the world at all. If you want to text us about the whole Jack Doherty, Graham Norton debacle, you can text us on 8 12 15. Maybe Jack Doherty will text us. He's probably he'll be up now, will he?
Yeah, shift starts at 7.
We laugh now, but it could be us before we know where we are. How lovely for you all to tune in and listen to us on this fabulous Saturday morning. The sun is breaking through the clouds here in Golden Square, and I feel happy. It's all right, isn't it? I'll tell you what I'm particularly happy about. That regular listeners to this show will know that in the background laughter, and there's been a few laughers here over the years. There used to be, on a regular basis, the beloved Daisy, who was our assistant producer.
Yeah.
And Daisy hasn't been around for a few weeks, and regular listeners have been thinking, hey, what happened to that Daisy girl? Some sort of trouble backstage we don't know about?
An incident, maybe?
Yeah, well,
there
was an incident this week when Daisy gave birth to a baby boy, so we were all very excited about that.
She knew about it in advance.
Well, most pregnant women do.
No, you made it sound like it suddenly happened, like one of those ones where those girls think I've got a tummy ache and then they have a baby.
She was just operating the lathe and suddenly, what on? Whoa! God, what's that? What on it? It's moving! Yeah.
Ezra, I love that name.
No, the baby's called... the name I got was Gandalf Clifford, was the names that they went for. Gandalf after the character in the children's novel, and Clifford after Max Clifford, the PR guru, who's been a great help during the current hacking scandal. All sorts of advice and insight he's offered. No, they've gone for Ezra, which is the same as Gareth's child.
No, that's Ethan.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks.
Oh, sorry. I'll just do them alphabetically in my... Okay, anyway, so congratulations to Daisy and Jermaine. Knight Abrahams is the surname.
That's a great name.
I like the way Abrams, it's not Abrahams, it's Abrams.
There's no H.
They've taken the H out.
They've dispensed with it.
In a way, they've taken the laughter out of it, the ha. I don't know if you remember about Abraham in the Bible, he's Laugh-a-Minnie. Oh, God, one gag after the... One of the few truly funny characters in the Old Testament, as far as one-liners are concerned. There was the ones that did, they had a general comedy ambience.
Noah.
Yeah, Noah was, he was funny, but I don't like a yarn teller. I like a one-liner type of comic. And Abraham, bang, 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 he was right out there. He started Jewish comedy in many ways. But I'm glad the way that the... I don't want to refer to them as working class in a derogatory way, but they're not posh, Daisy and Jermaine, but I like the way now your ordinary people in the street have taken on the hyphen, which used to belong only to the upper classes. The hyphenated surname.
Yeah, Ezra Knight Abrahams.
Knight Abrahams, yeah, with a hyphen. I think it's a good thing. I wonder if there's a bit of a debate about whose name goes first. Is there a tradition? Is it the female name first, the male name first, alphabetical order?
In Spain, you keep the mother's name. It goes after your last name. So whatever your mother's maiden name was, my name would be Steve Williams Roderick if I was in Spain.
Oh, well, think yourself lucky then.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because Roderick sounds like a description of you. He's a bit of a Roderick. Do you know what I mean? Something that might have spun out of all those years of watching Fools and Horses I was a bit of a Roderick. I'll tell you what, if I keep touching my lower lip, those of you watching on the old webcam...
Leave that alone.
Yeah,
I've seen...
What am I doing with the spot at my age?
Can I just say I'm jealous? Means your skin's lovely and youthful.
Does it? I
dream of spots.
I had 4 spots. One started on my right cheek, and one was on my right cheek, and then there was one just below it, one on the chin, and then one on the lower. It's like Orion's belt running across my... If I'd seen Professor Brian Cox at a party, I reckon he would have given me the glad eye across the... Do young people still give the glad eye? Are you familiar with the glad eye, Steve? You're looking at me a bit.
I've seen it in Second World War movies.
Yeah, it's when, when you get that look, which means you and I could perhaps be a unit forever.
Promenade down the pier together.
I'd like to see his glad eye. I bet it's a twinkly one. Because all things that twinkle tend to draw in Professor Brian Cox. I don't know if you've ever noticed that. Is everything all right? Oh no, everything is. I just felt there was activity. I had a bit of an incident this week. Well, I've had a few incidents.
I love it when you have an incident.
This was it was big time. It was showbiz themed, and it involved me. I'll just give you a teaser before we go into some music. It involved me doing an impromptu gig, right, stand-up gig, in front of 7,000 people. For which I was paid with a cheese and onion pie. Well, that's the ingredients. Get into that later.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Oh, yes. Enough bongo. Oh dear, what is it with Bono? He's always trying to say, I'm a man of the world. You know what I mean? I'm a citizen of the whole planet.
Yeah, but you don't hear enough bongo play out in music these days.
Well, I'm sick of it.
Reviving the art form.
Anyway, that was U2 with Mysterious Ways. So, so I was at a gig...
I sounded like a really disapproving old man. And you went,
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say I was disapproving.
It didn't. It's the kind of thing that should be prefixed by "get your hair cut." It's that kind of "get your hair cut."
Yeah. So, are you familiar with laughs in the park? I don't mean in your private life, Steve. I mean at the gig.
Yes, I am. It's a big festival, isn't it? That
it's not
last weekend.
They call it a festival. To me, I mean, I went down there. It's not really a festival. It's the same show 3 consecutive nights. So you wouldn't go and camp there and watch it over and over. It's brilliant, but I felt I was slightly playing at festival. I drove down, I parked, I watched the show, I hung out. I drove home. It's not really a festival, is it?
No.
So you went down there for one day?
Yeah, everyone goes for one day. It's the same show over and over.
Oh, right, yeah, sorry. I see what you
It's
mean.
brilliant. Anyway, it's Eddie Izzard and Ross Noble. Hold on a minute. Ross Noble. Friend of the show. Yeah. Tommy T. And it's great. Anyway, I was there, and Eddie Izzard was about to go on, and he said to me, "What about you doing 5 minutes before I..." And I said, I don't have any material. What are you talking about? And he said, "No, come on do... come on, do 5. There's like a cat in a sort of a horse costume." And I said, "You all right?" And he said, "Oh, sorry, that happens to me now and again." And he said, "Come and do 5 minutes." And I said, "No, what?" And I haven't done any stand-up for 2 years, Steve.
Frank, did you do it a bit like when they say on the Des O'Connor show, "Can we do a singing number now?" Well, they pretend they haven't rehearsed it. I couldn't possibly sing.
I didn't. It would have been lovely if that had
Exactly.
been. Really, I should always have 5 minutes up my sleeve. We all should. Everyone should in life.
Oh, goodness, yes.
Yeah. What about if there was some sort of road accident? You had to calm people down.
Oh, stand-up would be the way to do that.
Yeah, I think so.
I think not enough firemen use stand-up in emergency situations.
No, it's a pity, because they've only got to go up a couple of rungs. They've got a makeshift stage.
Nice.
So I said, my way of getting out of it was to say, well, I was just going to get myself a pie, actually. So, I'm starving, I couldn't possibly. And this man, Peter Bennett-Jones, who's just won a BAFTA for services to comedy, said, "I'll get you a pie if you go into 5 minutes in front of the 7,000 people that are standing out there with no material whatsoever." I said, "Oh, all right then." So on I went.
So hang on. So 1 minute you adamant you're not doing it.
Yes.
This guy who's about to win a BAFTA says to you, "I'll get you a pie," and you're like, "Do you know what? I'll have a crack at it."
Yeah, exactly. It was the pie. We've all done that, haven't we? The pie's come out and you thought, well...
I can imagine that being an incentive for Frank.
Yeah, apparently
No
Neil
offence, but I can.
Armstrong was in that lunar module and he said, I'm going nowhere. And Buzz Aldrin, just in that... of the door opening on the microwave. And he said, what about if I put in this baby? Okay, for 2 minutes. And then it's all yours. Neil was out there like a horse leaving a loud scenario. He was out there. Anyway, so I went on stage and did 5 minutes with no material, basically. In fact...
Frank, did your manager know about this? And
no.
what were his views on it?
No,
that you were being paid against us?
No,
He wanted 10%.
but I'll just a little bit of a rundown here. Little material, but bags of nerve, the Evening Standard. Flashes of Form, the Independent. So, you know, it happened.
Baked crust.
But when I came off stage, I walked down the stairs at the end of it, and there he stood, Peter, with the pie.
Oh.
And there was something very right about it. Because, you know, now you go and do a TV show or something, they say, oh, you're being paid blah, blah. You never see it. It goes into your bank account, whatever. It's no sense of earning.
Are you advocating some kind of barter economy with
Yes.
baked goods?
I want to go pre-industrial. I think we should be paid in food on a regular basis. I just walked down stage and there was my pie. 5 minutes material, my pie. There's something brilliant about it.
I find something odd about it. You're one of the...
You find it odd, do you? You're one of those people who find transvesticism odd, am I right?
No!
Oh, okay.
You're one of my favourite comedians and you're acting like a pigeon. What's... Pigeons eat pies.
Yeah, that was a sentence of two halves, wasn't it? Started so brilliantly and then it became pigeonist at the end. All I can say to that is...
I think it's the thin end of the wedge, this. I think what's going to happen is this is how you're going to be paid. This is your currency from now on. You'll be paid in food now.
Well, I'd be happy for that, absolute. It's like, have you ever seen that Van Gogh's painting of the potato eaters? And
one of my favourites.
Peasantry eating potatoes that, you know, they've picked themselves. They are eating the fruits of their labours. That was me with that pie, my comedy pie. It was, oh man, it felt so right. And I think it was Paul Simon who said, I can't get used to something so right. Wing, I think was they cut that bit in the end.
Oh.
But he was talking about... the political views of Art Garfunkel. That's this morning's texting. The political views of Art Garfunkel discuss. Right on both sides of the paper. Have we had any texts at all yet on 8, 12, 15?
Yeah, we've had someone texting in...
Saying, what on earth are you talking about?
So, we've had an Up the Baggies. We always get an Up the Baggies.
Oh, yeah.
Always get an Up the Baggies. But we've had someone... suggesting that Alan, I'm sorry to talk about Alan when you're here, Steve, but he does the show, because he's not here this week. He's away with his family, isn't
When
he?
you say Alan, do you mean
Yeah, the cockerel.
yeah, okay.
Someone suggesting Alan is a lookalike for Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
Well, what I really like is radio lookalike of people who aren't even here.
You asked if we'd had any text. That's what we've had.
But I didn't mean that one right wedged in the bottom plank of the barrel.
That's it.
I've also had a
That's all you got.
I've also had a text asking, saying I can't see Emily on the webcam, and it's come from someone
Don't read that. We get a lot of those ones.
It's come from someone in Poland.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, some kind of Polish Emily fan
It's got a
club.
massive fan base in Poland. Anyway, I'm doing that gig. I'm thinking now I missed out. I should have done Show Me the Funny. I could have been big on there.
You could have won it in pies.
Have you seen it?
Well, I want to
Show
know
Me
what...
the- Show Me the
I
Funny.
haven't seen it. Is it any good?
Well, there's that woman Kate Copstick who's very... I've never seen her before. I don't want to be familiar with her. She's very nasty.
She's the one with the glasses and the
Glasses and like a white streak in the hair.
quite 80s looking.
She was...
Looks like Jerry Sadowitz.
She looks like... Well, let's put it this way. She's nastier to those comics than she was to those Dalmatians.
This is Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
You can text us on 8, 12, 15.
We've actually had a text, Frank. I love this.
We've actually had a text.
Yeah,
Let us all gather around it.
we've had a text, and it's brilliant. It's from a last 3 digits, 387. I don't know. Perhaps the name would be nice, but they've texted in, what pie was it?
Ah.
Isn't that brilliant?
It was, I thought I said this, it was cheese and onion pie.
No, you didn't.
Not
You
my
didn't mention
favourite.
it.
I mean, I like
Even
something
with my
meat-based.
inexperienced pie palate, That is not my favourite either, Frank. It's got to be a chicken or steak in there.
Yeah, surely
Fair
if you're going on stage, it would be for meat, right?
Do you think? Is that
Don't ask me.
Well, there's more
You have a
protein.
visceral approach to stand-up comedy. Do you have a set thing that you would wear on stage?
A pie.
You'd actually wear a pie?
That'd be great.
Now, do you have what is your stage gear? Are you a man who puts a suit on, Steve? You're not.
No, I tend to wear just jeans and a t-shirt. Really.
It's whatever you're wearing. You don't have any set
Yeah, no
stage costume.
Do you?
It's just that when I went on at this festival, Impromptu, I was wearing a green cagoule zipped up to the chin, which I didn't really realise until Ross Noble pointed it out with some
people at the back. Is that Frank Skinner or some day tripper?
I know it looked like someone from Time Team was making an announcement. So yeah, I've never performed in a cagoule.
Frank normally likes a suit.
Well, I'm not. I do and I don't. I'm getting a bit fed up with these comedians in suits. I've worked my whole life writing jokes so I could get a job when I didn't have to wear a suit. You know what I mean? And then
Oh, that's all right, darling. You've got enough hoodies. to last you
Exactly.
For years.
That's what I'm going. I'm going hoodie.
Now, Frank,
Waterproof hoodie.
you had a bit of an unpleasant run-in, I think, this week, didn't you?
Oh God, I think
You
it's
were
done about
telling
my
me
marriage. Why have you brought that up? Yeah, I'll tell you what. I was violated on the streets of London. I was. This is an headline which is not going to deliver anything. I find now that when I'm crossing on a pelican crossing, is that what I do, whether I'm going to go left or right when I get on that pavement, I go straight ahead. When I get to the pavement, I make my decision whether to go left or right. But some people, they try to make ground on the actual crossing of the road, and they'll do a diagonal right across you. Do you know what I mean? So
I
if
know
they're going to go
exactly what
right,
you mean.
they go right. So this woman, she went into me shoulders wise. It was like, I imagine a sheep must feel when being separated by a sheepdog from the... I was pushed to one side by her. I ended up going with her the way I didn't want to go. And she
Frank.
she didn't say a word.
But she was aggressive.
So you didn't cross the road?
Well, I got across the road, but I was planning to go left. I'd been forced right. She'd shown me the outside, as they used to say at Arsenal training sessions. That's what she did. She showed me the outside.
You see, there is a lack of boundaries with the pelican that you don't get with the Green Man. Everyone knows where they stand with the Green Man.
But
Order
a green man is on a pelican crossing.
No,
surely.
that's a different
No.
kind of crossing.
Oh, well, I used to know all the crossings off by heart. No, I did. I was very good on it. It was my specialist subject. Because there's a scramble now at Oxford Circus. We won't go into that. But, yeah, there's that one of those... I'm sure that's a pelican with the green man.
No, that's not, Frank. Pelican,
Yeah.
just so everyone's aware, I know a lot about this, is just the flashing orange light. That's a pelican.
What's a zebra then?
Zebra's different. That means the traffic stop. Everyone knows where they stand.
Don't switch off yet. Someone reached them for the dial. I had to stop them at the last minute.
Essentially, there are traffic lights.
I would say that there is a green man on a pelican
No,
crossing.
you're absolutely wrong. Please text in 81215. I'm right. There's
Well,
a
who's going to
difference.
text in the
sure
Ministry
is
of
that?
I'll tell
Transport?
you.
They don't work on Saturdays.
The difference is traffic lights on Green Man, not on Pelican.
But what is what's a toucan crossing? Can you tell me that? Can you tell me what a toucan crossing is? No, exactly. A toucan
There's no such
crossing.
thing.
What? A toucan crossing is one when people on bikes have a little bit so they can wheel their bike across at the same time as pedestrians. And it's not toucan. It's not like pelican. It's something like pedestrian lit crossing. Blah blah blah. It's an acronym. But toucan is because two can cross at the same time.
Oh, okay.
You see, it's a pun.
I just like that this is one of the worst rows I've ever had with you, and it's about Pelican Crossing.
Okay, but I'm pretty confident. I think we should put money on it
No,
now.
Frank.
Are we allowed to, are they licensed for gambling at Absolute Radio? Let's hope so.
Frank,
Might get a new copy.
I had...
I have. Sorry.
No, it's all right.
I've come to put complete faith now in the Green Man. I used to be one of those smart Alex. You know those smart Alex, when you're waiting for the Green Man and they think, oh no, one can get across here before the Green Man. I'm over. And they go quick. And they sort of look back as if to say, look at you lot, just following the herd. But I'm a maverick character. I'll cross when I see that gap. I don't need no Green Man to tell me. I don't want to be that person.
So what restored your faith in the Green Man?
It's not so much faith. I think there must have been a moment in Soviet Russia where people thought, let's stop fighting the system, let's just do what we're told, right? And that's how I am with the Green Man. I just stand there. Honestly, it could be 3 o'clock in the morning and there might not be a car in the city. I ain't going till the Green Man says so. I've released myself from any decision-making responsibility.
No.
Yeah.
You have to walk on red. When there's no cars around, you have to go across on red.
No, I pride myself on waiting for the Green Man. Because people who go, they want to say, you know what, I can judge it myself. What I'm saying is, I'm too busy with my other thoughts to be looking at traffic. The Green Man, what do you think I'll pay him for?
Can I just say, Frank, never mind that. Something very bad has happened.
Oh, God, what?
570, Frank's right.
I knew I was right.
805, Emily is wrong. This is the worst thing that's ever happened
I'm liking both of those. Do you think we could get those embroidered and framed, like with the prisoner album sleeves that are on the walls of Absolute?
A pelican has a green man. The flashing orange light is a Belisha. Smart Alex in Croydon.
Well, a Belisha, I believe, was... I believe he was Minister of Transport during the Second World War, which is why his name would have stuck in Emily's memory.
Frank on radio. Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. Absolute Radio.
Hey, Frank, we've had a text here. Frank, you are the crossing king! Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark.
Loving it.
Yes, we've had quite a few texts. Can I say my favourite is from 715. Sadly, lovely Emily is wrong. You see, that's a nice way of putting it.
Yes.
I was very adamant about it, which is what's so embarrassing.
You were very adamant. That's the trouble. You see, if you'd had a bit of vagueness to you, people would have been more forgiving, but oh no, you knew best. I tried to stop you from making a complete fool of yourself, but...
so many times you have, and it never worked. Richie515, what is a puffin crossing?
I believe a puffin is the one... I can't remember. It's an acronym. Yes.
It's an acronym.
It's an acronym, I think. Acronym is when,
Yeah.
I think it's the one when the Green Man is on the near side. It's on your side of the road. So you actually look at the thing right at the side of you.
What?
If there was one, I think it's the puffin, that when it first came out, it used to say... you know the ones in America where it says cross and don't cross?
Yes.
Oh,
it used to have that, I think, instead of the Green Man.
Oh.
But it could only say cross, and I love this. It couldn't say don't cross because it violated the rights of way.
Really?
Because it was telling you that you couldn't go across a piece of public land. We could talk about crossings till the cows come home.
I love the way that the fire in your eyes about crossings at the moment. It's incredible.
There's one outside Buckingham Palace, which is one of those for horses to cross. How apt.
Oh, a horse. I love a horse crossing.
So instead of a green man, you get a green horse.
That's not true.
That is true.
I'm not going to go down the that's not true road. That's got me in all sorts of hot water this morning.
In case there's confusion, and you know, Princess Anne, for example, says, looks like you're going to have to stay here. This is my one. That's not you. Where's the high hair?
And the Sex and the City premiere, it was really useful. Yeah. Frank, I had a commuter-based incident myself this week, actually.
Okay.
I came a bit of a Roy Cropper.
Oh, no.
On public transport. I was on the tube. Don't judge me.
I'm just enjoying you coming a bit of a Roy Cropper.
Yeah.
What, no lips at all?
No.
Okay.
And the hair, there was no body in it. It was totally flat.
And of course, as they say in Ethiopia, Hail Selassie.
Oh, there you go. So, this is to do with armrest conflict, I call it.
Okay.
And that's when you get on the tube. Frank, you keep it real, and I like that about you. You do get public transport, don't you, sometimes?
Oh, God, where am I going to pick up my illnesses otherwise?
Steve, do you get the tube?
Oh, yes. I'm a man of the people.
Yeah, you are, actually. I like that about you.
Respect.
So I get on the tube. Now, the armrests are in quite scarce supply on the tube.
Do you know, some tube carriages, they don't have them at all.
Oh, dear. Well,
yeah, but sometimes, you know, they're back in the seat. You have to pull them down. I've seen people sitting there, obviously hankering for an armrest. And I'm thinking, it's just there it is, look. Because you can't speak to people on the tube. Or they think you're a mad axeman, so you have to just leave them to sit there.
If you start shouting it's behind you.
Exactly. Yeah.
But Frank, when you're sitting, when you found your seat, which let's face it, is the feeling of elation when you get that seat. There's nothing like it. Then I got my seat. To my horror, I would say sort of almost Rick Waller levels. We're talking on my left.
Oh.
Yeah. So he's sort of the arm is just all over my armrest.
Well, you don't sit next to a man like that. You sit amongst him.
Yeah. I was a motif on his jacket.
Oh no.
On my left.
Like a cat on a waterbed.
Very much so.
They have to be tentative, don't they? With the claws. They wouldn't be able to allow themselves any purchase at all.
The man next to me, not quite Rick Waller, more sort of Eamon Holmes.
Okay.
Plump pinstripe.
Okay.
He and I entered into the worst elbow battle for the armrest I've ever had in my whole... we were actually... I could feel the joints of the man.
More like arm wrestling.
Yes, it was. I won in the end.
Did you?
It got really unpleasant, though.
How did you win?
He got off. And as he got off...
That's not really... That's not you. Is that victory?
What a victory!
It was a Pyrrhic
That's not victory, that's geography.
As he got off, do you know how I know I won? He went... He sighed.
Yeah, but I think a man that size just getting up will always lead to an expulsion of air from somewhere.
It was a silent battle, Frank, though, and that's what I loved about it.
Well, this was this woman on the crossing.
Yeah.
Nothing was said. She'd made up her mind she was going to veer to the right, and if I was in her way, God help me.
Yeah.
That's the way people are. Like, I had one on a plane where I'd put my hand on the armrest, and the guy next to me, who went through turbulence, he put his hand on top of my hand, because he was like your Rick Waller man, and he was like really sort of afraid of the turbulence. He put his hand on my hand
For comfort.
because we were going through the plane dropped out
Deliberately
the sky.
for comfort.
Yeah, deliberately. And worst thing was, when it sort of went to the bottom of the turbulence, he put his fingers in between my fingers.
Oh my goodness.
That's hand rape. But because he was so big, I didn't say anything.
No. You were right not to say. And was the part of you thinking, well, we might crash, let's see what it's like? Oh, well, I mean, but that's different. That's fear. I mean, I there's something sweet about that. He was looking for comfort.
Yeah, it was
I don't mean the fabric condition, if that's what you're thinking. No, well, what I do when I've been in cinemas, I don't wrestle with them. I wait for my moment. Eventually, they'll sort of reach for a popcorn or something. As soon as they vacate it, I'm in, and they come back. It's like a cuckoo in the nest. They come back. There's my elbow. That's what it's about. It's not about brute force. It's about guile. That's what I'd recommend. If you've been involved in any silent battles, I think that's what we'll call them, shall we? Silent
like that.
battles. You know, when you're trying to get your own way, but no one's mentioning it. Then give us a text on 81215. Why not? Don't know why I made the big thing out of that. It's just, it's a normal texting thing we do every week, but I made it into some sort of,
build attention.
Like I had to persuade people. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. That's my attitude. You've got hundreds.
Yeah, my whole life is one long silent battle.
And mine. With mortality, mine. But it's very hard to describe it in the form of a text. I always find. I tell you what I do. I hate that thing when you think, well, you get across the road, you see the traffic come, you think, I'm over, and you go quick, and you're across, and you look round, the person you were with hasn't come with you. And you have to hang around, waiting for them, so your entire advantage has been lost. Why don't people just,
We only have this excellent.
This is Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
That's America by Razorlight. I wouldn't mind the Razorlight. I like the idea of having like one of those cutthroat razors with a small headlight on it, and actually shaving in the dark, but with very, very close detail from the bright little headlight.
Or it could be Razor-like. They all look like Ray Romano. Razor-like, like a look-alike business. Come on, Frank. Let's talk about pies. That'll get you fired up.
Have you got a pencil and paper? Yes, we were talking about silent battles which one experiences in everyday life.
Hey, I've had a great text in here, Frank. I was the victim of a silent armrest battle in the cinema at Leicester Square. Neither myself or the man next to me were gaining much ground, but we were both thwarted when there was a brief nanosecond where the armrest was free and a Chinese chap behind us put his feet on it. Oh, we laughed.
That can't be right, can it?
How would you get your feet on an armrest in the row in front?
And they're not the tallest. I think you'll agree.
Maybe had a prosthetic leg and took it off and put it on there.
Well, that'd be worth doing. I once sat in front of Paul McCartney and his wife at a premiere. No, I don't think we've got time for this story. Yes, I like the old armrest battle thing. I tend to give in nowadays.
Do you?
Yeah, I think it's a good thing to. As you're saying, I don't want to be part of it.
No, I'm very, very much part of it.
Do you know what I like? Rather than silent battles, I like silent victories. Like, if I have an argument with my wife, and I know she likes lemonade, I'll just go into the kitchen. I won't win the argument, but I'll tighten the top on the lemonade and shake it so she can never open it again. Silent victory.
You can say silent victory, I say psychotic.
That's horrible, isn't it? It starts like that. Soon it'll be rat poison in that lemonade. It's a bit scary, isn't it?
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
It's Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio, and I'm with Emily Dean, and Steve Williams is kindly sitting in for the Cockerel today, who's away at the Cambridge Folk Festival.
Yeah.
In reasons for not doing the show, that comes pretty low down the league table to me. Sorry, I have to do the Cambridge Folk. He's not performing. He's just walking about.
He's just in a tent.
Yeah.
He's making dream catchers there.
Yeah, I bet he is.
We had a text from Frank that, which I quite like, because it's about competitive partners, and it says, Frank, my girlfriend puts the knives in the wooden knife block sharp edge down. I take them out and put them in sharp edge up to keep them sharp. This has been going on for 5 years. We never mention it. Eventually, I will be victorious. So if you think I sound psychopathic...
Yeah.
That's a good silent battle, I like that.
I like that it's never been mentioned between a married couple. How many things are left unsaid between a married couple? I've often thought that. I won't go any further into that anecdote, I don't think. Go on.
754, standing at an ATM. There are 2 ATMs, both are busy, so you stand in the middle as a one-person funnel queue.
Yes.
Do you know that, the funnel queue? Somebody else comes and ignores your funneling and stands beside you.
They choose.
Yes.
Yeah.
Competitive queuing. Silent
It happens in urinals, I have to say. I don't want to drag the tone down, but it does happen in urinals. I always think in urinal, I always tell by body language, I can always tell who's going to finish first. So I don't funnel queue. I latch myself on to the next finisher. I can see. Just their shoulders have relaxed. You think they're almost empty. I'm ready to go straight in.
See,
Me and Steve went to the toilet at the same time today, and Emily was quite distressed. She didn't realise there was 2 cubicles behind that door.
Just looked a bit weird, and Steve had a rucksack on his back.
Do you think it was like school again? We were going to play Crossfires.
That was the weirdest thing ever. There were 2 cubicles, but Frank still latched himself onto my back. That was the weirdest bit about that.
Yeah, but I like that. It's had a sort of a... Anyway.
Now, Frank.
Yes.
Imagine my excitement and delight this week to read that Ed Miliband has had a bit of surgery.
Oh, yes. But not
well, imagine my disappointment.
Yes.
To discover it was actually to correct sleep apnea, I think it's called, isn't it? Snoring. Posh word for snoring.
Yes.
Really.
Sleep apnea, yeah.
Yeah.
Was it, though? Was it to correct that? Or was it to correct... actually, the British people, it's to correct that. It's that nose thing, isn't it?
Do you think that's why you had it?
Definitely, because it is impossible to become Prime Minister if you've got a bit of a weird voice. People don't like it, makes them uneasy, and they don't trust you. That's why Pasquale will never be Prime Minister. That's my prediction now, and you can quote me on that.
But I'll say to you, Winston Churchill, allegedly one of the greatest Britons ever, he had a funny voice. He always sounded like he was chewing about 15 wet marbles when he was talking.
Yeah, but the thing is, Dan, I don't think they didn't have to be so media friendly in those days. If
there was no spin or PR element then.
If you were part of the Lord Blenheim's family or whatever he was, then I think you were in. But now people have to be pleasant to the ear.
They would have had Churchill would have been on the Atkins now. That's what they do now.
Yeah, he would. Yeah. Whereas Ed Miliband, there's so many things. His mouth, I'm not happy with his mouth. Just looking at him.
But he looks like both Bert and Ernie from Sesame Street, doesn't he? He's got that.
What, in a blender?
Yeah.
I think that he's got the kind of mouth that he's going to get that white stuff in the corners. I understand. He's
Oh,
one of
I
the-
know that white stuff.
Yeah,
Frank.
when he does a
Oh.
long speech, apparently, when they cut to someone in the audience, he's actually being flossed. They don't floss his teeth; they floss his lips. Because I saw a thing. He had, sometimes when it gets very bad with those people, I've seen it with the school teacher as well. They actually the white leaves the corners, gets brave, and goes centre stage, and you get a sort of a. It's like pulling apart a pizza. You get a string in the middle, the actual middle of the lip. You get a string as if it's trying to stop the mouth from opening too far. I saw him do a speech once, and during the interval, 2 people came out with wire cutters. it had strengthened to that extent. But he might well be a very bright and interesting man, but if with that voice,
No.
he cannot be Prime Minister.
They picked the wrong brother, I'm sorry.
So they
It's happened to me many a time.
Yes.
It happens.
They do something to his septum, don't they? I think that's
Again, it's happened to me many a time.
Yes, well, I know that. Thank God for Daniela Westbrook. Without her traumas, I wouldn't know what a septum was. See, from every cloud, there cometh the silver lining.
Well, it is deviated septum, socialites and boxers generally.
Deviated septum.
Deviated septums,
Sounds like
yeah.
a light rock group.
It just gets worn down.
It's I discovered that. Did you know that the nostrils have got different names as well?
Is that right?
Your
'Cause
nostrils
one-
or everyone's nostrils?
No, mine are called Steve and Elwood.
The thing him and Kath have, let's not get...
No, there's if you look at someone's face, on their left nostril is called the orgum. Then you got the septum in the middle, and then the octum on the right.
Is that right,
Because it's
Frank?
like August, September, October. That's how it.
October.
Well, October. Yeah. Sorry, I've got something wrong with my.
He's got white bits in the corner of his mouth.
Yeah, yeah. So that's how they name them.
Oh, I love that fact.
Yeah.
That
But
fascinating
why?
fact.
Why have different names? They're just nostrils. Left one, right one, isn't it?
Well, so when you go to ear, nose, and throat, the doctor can write on report, blockage in the orgum. And everybody knows where. Because left and right gets a bit complicated. Is it his left? Is it my left?
What about ears? Your ears have different names.
I don't do ears. But yeah, that's apparently. I made that up.
Oh, did
Oh,
you?
I really
Yeah.
believe
Oh,
that
Frank.
fact.
I think we are too much the slaves of fact on this programme, and
Frank.
sometimes lies are more interesting. You must have noticed that.
Oh dear.
Oh, no, I've texted loads of people.
Have you? Just with that fact, just to show off. There's only one thing. We need something now to clear our palate, I think, from that deceit.
Yeah.
It's going to have to be the 4.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Frank, Re-Silent Battles 273. My missus puts the toilet roll so the edge comes off against the wall. I turn it away every time I see it. 10 years no mention. Joe Sutton.
Can I
10
say?
years.
Can I say that I do exactly? We have
Do
exactly
you?
the same thing. Who would ever think that a toilet roll should turn towards the wall? Who would ever think that?
You think it should come off the wall, right?
Yeah, the bit that's the curtain of it should be on the outside.
Oh,
You
no, I have it the other way.
You have it down the wall.
Does Kathy do it the other way?
Yeah, she does. It must be a male-female thing.
Yes, I like it hidden. I like... So essentially, it's coming downwards against the wall.
So you like descending sheet as backdrop. I like it. Have you ever seen a waterfall? What does a waterfall do? It cascades outward. Right? Outward is what it does. An epaulette. The fringe of an epaulette, it cascades outward. An overbite cascades outward. You don't want it going towards the wall.
No,
agree
Kath
with
and
you.
I are right.
We've also had one in from 131. Frank, I was offered surgery raising my septum. I said, sign us up.
Oh,
Come on.
you rascal. I was in there as well for a big surgery story. Turned out to be, he pulled the septimal mat from under me. at the last
October
minute.
septimus.
I'll tell you what he could do. We're talking about Ed Miliband's kind of bonged up voice. You know the thing that footballers do? They put a big blob of Vic.
Oh, yeah.
Or Vicks, I think they call it.
Yeah.
You know, Vicks Vapor Rub. They put a blob of that on the shirt, centre of the shirt, and the vapour's constantly rising, keeps their breathing good. He could do that. He could have a tie on his tie and a big. See, it's interesting. We always called that stuff Vic in my house. Rub some Vic on your chest, but apparently it's Vicks.
I've always said Vicks.
Yeah. See, we always singularised it. How strange.
Well, I knew 2 Vicks, so it was both of theirs.
Do you know what the slogan is for?
I'd love to know if you
for
know
Vic?
it.
I bet this is their modern day slogan. It's take some weight off your head.
Is that right?
Is that a good slogan?
Oh, I thought that was my hairpiece slogan.
No, it's weird. I think it made me think of Janine from EastEnders, who used to have an incredibly the most moon-shaped face on television. And now it's kind of, I suppose, she's slimmed so much, even her head has got a little bit thinner than it used to be. And it's as if her moon has slightly waned. She's become a sort of, if things got out of control on her eating front, she could have the appearance of a crescent. Just like an arched, thin, bony side face Janine could end up with, which would fit in, I think, with a villainous persona on the programme.
So, Steve, are you going on your picnic then?
Yeah, well, listen.
The picnic!
Now, people listening at home, I've been in a big sort of furore this week. I'm good. I've been invited to a picnic at Hatfield Forest tomorrow.
Oh, not in Wales, then?
No.
Do you live in Wales,
I do
Steve?
stuff outside Wales, Frank. You know.
No, I know that. Well, here you are.
It's, I live in London.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I've gone up in the world. I'm going to Hatfield Forest tomorrow, which is at the end of runway 1 of Stansted Airport.
Room 101?
The end of... It's in room... It should be in room 101.
Frank only speaks in TV shows.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, okay.
So I'm going there. It's a picnic, and people have been... It's sort of slightly middle class, which is not my kind of thing. And people
lovely.
said... Yeah, I knew you'd like it. And
well, a working class picnic tends to be homelessness. So, okay. Well, it sounds lovely. I love a picnic. I haven't been on a picnic for ages.
Well, this is... you would, Frank, but then people have said, we've got to make different stuff. And I've been asked to make dessert, which I am... You know, I'm not up for it, because in this modern world we've become too competitive with food. It's like, you give food, it's like, this is what I am. It's like when people stay at my house, my wife starts buying croissants and pain au chocolat, and we never eat that stuff normally, just so guests think they're waking up in La Rochelle.
Yeah.
It's I don't know, I'm not up for it.
La Rochelle suit, more like it. Yeah, well, so you're making some food.
Yeah, what do I do, Frank? Do I buy stuff and bash it up so it looks like... but then I'd just feel if I did that, I'd look like an alcoholic who's sat on it.
Yeah.
Or do I make stuff?
Well,
I don't know.
do you have they given you a list of what you're...
Dessert.
Oh, you're doing dessert?
Yeah.
So
Well, that's easy, isn't it?
Is it? Well, what are you going to go for?
I think it's the easiest of the courses, I've
Oh,
always
no,
thought.
be careful. You don't want to be dishing out blancmanges on that tartan rug.
There you go.
Will it be a
the kind of
tartan rug?
pitfalls.
Oh, I'm thinking gingham.
Frank.
For a picnic, you want a gingham tablecloth on the floor, don't you?
Bad news, it's tartan.
Is
Yeah.
it tartan?
It's tartan.
Okay.
So what are you thinking at the moment? Any...
I was thinking of putting 2 trifles together in a Tupperware box so it looks like it's been smashed a bit around in the car. But the trifle makers are clever, because the bowls they always make them in the supermarket are triangular. They go downwards and inwards. They gather at the bottom, so you can never put 2 together.
Don't go trifle, bit Laurel and Hardy sketch, love.
No, I wouldn't.
That was a classic.
Make some... Actually, you could take a leaf out of my Auntie Doreen's book and go Smarties in custard. Perhaps the easiest of the desserts. I think one could argue.
Custard.
Smarties in custard, I'm serious.
I'm up for that.
It's the clown style.
Because it's a bit of a middle class, sophisticated dinner. If it's a late night meal, candlelight, you could go for minstrels. But what I like about Smarties is as they move across, this is absolutely true, those of you who've had Smarties in custard will know, as they move through the custard, just by this general stirring, you know, that some of them will skim across the actual skin of it.
Oh.
But they leave us the lovely, colourful smears. I know lovely and smears in the same sentence, you don't often hear, but stick with me. Lovely, so if you can't afford fireworks, Smarties is a fabulous substitute.
This is Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
You see, if I find if there's no room on the armrests, I'll often put an elbow in each breast pocket. Just to relax. Can't do that this week. I've got neck shoulder, I'm calling it. Started neck shoulder, it's going right down the arm now. I can feel it in the hand.
What's happened, Frank?
What happened is I picked up an injury in, it's not a dynamic fashion. I was rolling over in bed.
Oh, rolling in the deep.
And, as I rolled, I felt it go. I rolled, it was a violent more violent than I normally roll over.
Well, where was collateral damage in this? Or?
You know, she sleeps as far away from me as one can sleep from someone in the same bed. If it wasn't for that piping around the edge of the mattress, she'd be on the floor. She's basically in the guttering of the mattress, as I used to call it in my drinking days. Anyway, I turned, and, you know, often when you turn in your sleep, and it's a whole mystery to me, the turning in the sleep. I mean, I always slightly wake up and then roll over and go back to sleep. Do you know that feeling?
Yes.
Is that the only rolling we do, or do we roll actually in our sleep?
Well, I don't know, because I roll an extraordinary amount.
Do you?
Oh, an ex-boyfriend, he used to call me the tumble dryer.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm leaving it there.
No, thanks.
Was the door always open? How many times would you say you rolled in a night?
Oh, I mean, over 20.
Right, what?
I think women do roll a lot. My missus, she rolls a lot. She's like,
oh, my missus. It's like the lightly lads in there. She rolls more than you think?
oh yeah, she cogs up all the duvet. It all like coils around her. Like
yeah, but you've probably got on a rotisserie, you weirdo. She coils up the
duvet. It's all wrapped around her. She's like in a little like pupa.
And the bit that's hanging down, is it hanging down at the front of her, or is it hanging down against the mattress, female style? Yeah, well. That was a toilet roll conversation we had a little earlier. Well, this particular... I was aware of... What I did is I woke up and I thought, I'm going over, but my head sort of led it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like my head rolled over and then... And I went quite staccato. There was a hint of robotics in it. So I kind of... I did the jerk and, I felt the pain.
Oh, fine.
Because I used to... When I roll when I'm... This is something I've never told any other member of the human race. But when I'm in bed and I'm awake and I roll over, I often imagine, I fantasise that I'm receiving a through ball in a big football match. And I sort of take it on the turn. In order, if you're being man-to-man marked, the turn can be everything as for getting past the defender. And I'll do a bit of... it's a fantastic turn by Skin. I did a bit of commentary in my head. So I'll receive the imaginary ball and then lead with the hip. And I'm round and I'm past him in bed.
So what was the extent of the injuries then? Your shoulder, your neck?
It's it properly, it hurts. And I'm on the ibuprofen. Is it ibuprofen?
Really?
What? I'm on that. Yeah, I'm on that.
You see?
I'll get you something stronger, darling.
Thanks. What will that be?
So you can get a stronger ibuprofen.
If I was a ventriloquist, I'd be off work this week. Let's put it that way. Because the right arm is... Well, it's
surely ventriloquists could go left-handed. Southpaw.
Why do we have to roll over at all, though?
Well, you've got to move in your sleep. You can't just stay still, can you?
Why not? What is it, 8 hours? Why not?
Oh, that's a long time without moving. I'm a little ball of energy. I need to be moving around.
I imagine that if I'm lying for like 2 or 3 hours, all my organs have all settled at the bottom of me. Do you know what I mean? Next to the mattress. You know the way muesli...
That is
sometimes
disgusting.
When you buy muesli in the packet, you think, you have to shake it up a bit because it's settled. I think my innards settle in the night.
Each other.
So I have to keep turning over to get them back into position. Then if you can imagine a sort of a major organs and intestine egg timer. That's what I'm like. So, but by the time all my organs have gone to the bottom, I have to turn round again. I'm like a very old-fashioned chess clock in that respect.
Frank on radio. Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. Absolute Radio.
What about if Ed Miliband claimed to be mute and did all his speeches in hand thing? He could be a very successful politician.
Yes, because then he gets sympathy votes.
Semaphore.
Well, as long as nobody heard that, he'd be all right. Sorry, that was a bit like a goose.
Frank, I've got a bit of a mea culpa moment here. I did a bad thing this week.
Oh yeah.
Very quickly, I saw a woman, hadn't seen for ages, lovely woman, walking toward... She was getting into a lift, and I was coming out.
Okay.
Didn't have time for a long chat. She just said, I said, how are you? She said, fine. I said, oh, great. Did that girly thing, screaming when you see each other. Then she said, yeah, I've got number 2 on the way. And I went, oh, no. And I think I meant to say, oh, wow, or oh, no way. But then the lift doors closed, and she just looked horrified. I went, oh no!
Oh dear. If somebody said to me I've got number 2 on the way, I wouldn't think pregnancy. I have to say, but then again I wouldn't say oh no. It'd be strange. Oh no.
It was awful.
Oh dear.
I think I meant to say oh no way, or oh wow.
Okay.
It just all went wrong, but it was a terrible social
I
clanger.
like it though.
See, I
I'm
had a
pregnant.
social-
Oh no! Are you? Why?
Of course, that did reveal my true feelings, but that's another story.
I think when a woman's pregnant and tells you that, you have to respond like when you go and see a comedian after a show. You can only say absolutely brilliant. Anything else you say is going to be in trouble. You can't say, oh, it's funny you should mention that. I read this thing in the Lancet. They don't want to hear it. All they want is a celebration. If you've dropped any terrible social faux pas this week, like being negative about someone's pregnancy, give us a text.
We only have this excerpt.
This is Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
You see, that was Coldplay with Every Teardrop is a Waterfall. Coldplay have gone up in my estimation this week because our colleague Ben Jones left, of course, this week, who I normally hand over to at the end of the show. And he was sent, by Chris Martin, he was sent a signed guitar.
That's
That's a
amazing.
goodbye. How lovely.
That is nice.
If you're interested in that, I think it's 11 days, 9 hours, 23 minutes still to go on that one. I don't know what it's at the moment, but have a look.
Thanks.
Have a look. Did you see that Jordan is... well, 2 Jordan stories struck me this week. One is that she had attempted the biggest ever book signing.
Yes.
Ever.
Yes.
I mean, people turning up, I presume she means.
Which is a great idea, isn't it? A Jordan book signing. Because then at least you know she wrote part of it.
Are you suggesting...
Frank, she says it herself.
Does she?
She's a ghost authoress. She doesn't write any of her books.
Is she upfront about that?
She's famous for saying, I choose the cover, I choose the title, and I pick a dress to match. That's what she's famous for saying, for the book launch.
To the tune of, I write the songs that make the whole world sing. Well, I'm at the same publisher as Jordan. There's a brag for you, isn't it? That's like saying, I go to the same hairdressers as the Top Gear boys.
With photos of you around the corner of the mirror. Yeah.
No, well, when I get there, when I was in the publishers this week, actually, and I have to say that Jordan gets a lot more space there than I do, because she's a proper big seller.
Oh, she sells well.
She is.
But do the people who buy Jordan's novels... We're talking the novels.
You say people.
Yeah. No, but do they think that Jordan has written that novel? Do they believe that?
I think they're just buying the brand. I think they're buying the book in the way that they'd buy a perfume or something. It's just because they're buying...
Fragrance.
Yeah. No, but they want to buy into the lifestyle.
Do they throw it up in the air and walk through it?
I suspect so,
I
yeah.
love it when women do that with perfume. You know that?
Yeah.
They used to do it on the wrist in my mum's day, but no, it's into the air and walk through it.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Well, it's interesting, because I see her as a sort of Dick Francis figure, Jordan. She's got that combination of equestrianism and literature. I can't think of anyone else who's really carried that off. Now you're telling me she doesn't even do it.
No.
I did, can I say incidentally, speaking of my publishers, I recorded the audio book of my new book this week.
I don't know about the new book.
I don't,
you won't want to talk about it on
I
air.
don't plug product on this show. This show is sacred to me. but yeah, I had to record the audio book, and I looked up on eBay audio books just to see what was around, you know.
Yeah.
And this one, the advert for the audio book section, it said, "Audio books, the perfect way to enjoy literature without reading." And reading is annoying, isn't it? Doesn't it get on your nerves, reading?
I love audiobooks. Audiobooks are brilliant, because if you when you read, like, Frank Skinner was in his driveway, it was a cold November night, if you answer in all the gaps, it feels like your mates. You just say, really, Frank, what happened then? I looked around, a bin had been knocked over by a cat. A cat, you say? Yes, a ginger tabby. And it feels like your mates for Frank Skinner.
That's a kind of a red button audio book you've got there. I didn't plan an
What's
interactive.
this need for noise all the time? Just read the book.
Talk in the gaps.
See, if you listen to a whole book on an audio book and someone says, "Oh, have you read that book, blah blah blah," is it all right to say yes?
No.
Or do you have to
Yes.
say, "Well, I've listened
Yes,
to
it
that
is.
book"?
No, you haven't read it.
Yes.
Reading's a very different experience to someone telling you.
But
It's like watching telly.
when someone says, "Have you read that book?" they're not asking you about the actual mechanics of reading it, are they?
No, yes, because that's different to do you know the story.
No.
That's like watching the film and saying you've read the
but
book.
there's a difference between Cole's notes. I mean, hearing the whole story.
We've gone very Radio 4, and I quite like it.
At least we haven't gone 5 Live, the station I hate most in all the world.
Oh, Frank.
The poor man's radio, the sportsman's Radio 4, 5 Live.
But if they paid you in pies, you'd go on there.
I wouldn't go on there if they paid me in...
In black diamond facials, which I'm about to have now.
You're going to have a black diamond facial?
Yeah, I'll report back next week.
Oh my God, you'll stink of lager afterwards. Yeah, well, I don't know what a black diamond facial is, but we'll leave it. I once offered... Have I got time to say this? No, I haven't got time to say it. Vicky Blight's banging on the door. Let her out, will you? Vicky Blight is next, because Ben Jones isn't. Ben Jones is sitting watching eBay like a hawk. Seeing how it's going. You can download the Not the Weekend podcast on Wednesday, and please do, because, God, our figures are going through the ceiling. Loving it. Vicky Blight is next, and we love Vicky. I'm tempted to sing Take Me Back to Dear Old Blighty. End of line.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.